Hi, ACC. My name is Hal Marmalejos, and I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic, where we didn't have a whole lot growing up. But then an American family took a step of faith and sponsored my older brother and I through Compassion International. That sponsorship gave us a private education with new uniforms. We were able to get school supplies as well as even nourishment at school. But the most important thing that we received from that sponsorship was a foundational building block on the faithfulness of God. That sponsorship was an answer to many years of prayer. And although unbeknownst to me at the time, that sponsorship put me in the spot that I'm at today, just 3 months away from graduating as a medical doctor in the greatest country on earth. So one event in my childhood that really changed my life was in the small town of Pedro Santana, right on the border of Haiti. My friends and I were playing around and we ran up on these 2 Haitian kids that were stealing mangoes from one of our neighbors. And although that in and of itself was not unusual, what was unusual was the way they were eating the mangoes. So they were peeling the mangoes and then rubbing them in the dirt and then eating them. And to me as a curious kid, I was like, man, why in the world would you guys do that? So, and their response just blew me away. One of the kids said that the reason why they were doing that was that mixing mangoes in the dirt caused them to feel the feeling of fullness just longer. And man, my stomach just sunk at that time, because even as a kid, I cannot comprehend the level of despair that somebody can feel in order to literally want to eat dirt. So from that moment forward, it became my life's goal to start an orphanage in the Dominican Republic, and God has done miracle after miracle after miracle in my life. One of those huge miracles was bringing my family and I in a miraculous way to Auburn, Alabama, and being able to join ACC, which is a church that's just on fire for God.
I remember the first time I went to my sponsor kid's house. His name's Luis David, and I had written them a letter like maybe a month or 2 ago. He was so excited. His mom was so excited for him because he wanted to show me the letter. They asked to send a picture, so a picture of me like blown up 8.5 by 11 with my big fat face on this picture, and he's like looking at it, pointing at it. He goes, "It's mi padrino. This is my sponsor right here." The impact that you have with these kids who have nothing, and to know that somebody clear across the world cares about them enough to write them a letter and tell them that they love them, and tell them that they care for them, and tell them that there's a God out there who really does care for them in the midst of whatever circumstances they have is pretty amazing.
There's a point that I would like to make about the relationship Compassion has had in our marriage. From the very beginning, we have been drawn together more in prayer than we have in the past. The Compassion ministry was about getting children out of poverty in Jesus' name. On Compassion Night, chose our children individually. From that point, we began to pray together for the children and pray for their families as well.
Yeah, so the parents are just as excited as the children to see us because they know that we're coming. We've supported their child. And what was really impactful to me, the father of our sponsored child rode by on a motorcycle and saw us and stopped and came over and ran and started hugging us. And it was incredible. That just showed they knew that we weren't a one and done and that we were gonna come back and take care and love on not just him and their child, but the community.
So through Compassion, I actually sponsored 2 children. Jose lives in Colombia and Seyram lives in Ghana. And I've just been blown away by the work that Compassion is doing all over the world. I've actually had the opportunity through ACC in partnership with Compassion to visit both Colombia and Ghana. In the past 2 years, I've visited Ghana twice. And so what I can say about Compassion is that what they're doing works. I know for me, prior to learning about Compassion, I always felt like the poverty in the world, the hardships that people face, just the quantity of people who don't know the Lord can feel really overwhelming. It can feel like a problem that we don't know how to solve. But what I've learned is partnering with compassion allows you to make that impact. I've seen firsthand with both Jose, especially Sayram visiting him twice now, is that while you're sponsoring a child, first of all, that child is a child of God. And so you know that they are being nurtured under leadership and teaching about the Lord, but that child also represents a family, a community, an entire generation of people who are being impacted by the work that Compassion is doing.
As soon as COVID became a thing, I was concerned for us, but I was certainly concerned for my children because they live in poverty. The Compassion Centers are open to small groups. It helps them stay up with their studies. There's a tutor there. But the big thing is, and parents know that COVID has been so isolating, they're able to see their friends. They can play like normal children, and they can see and be hugged and loved on by the Compassion workers there.
Hello, Urban Community Church. This is Raphael Amanyo, pastor in charge of Mangose Global Evangelical Church. I'm speaking on behalf of Mangose Global Child Development Center, the project we have in the community. On behalf of the parents and the entire membership of the community, thank you for the love you have for our children. We want to say, may God help you for all that you are doing. We love you. Thank you.
I want to encourage you, ACC, to sponsor a child today. Be a part of the story that God is writing in those kids' lives. And indeed, just the story that God is writing across the world. Because to those kids over there, the miracles in the Bible are no different than the miracle that God's going to do in their lives through your sponsorship. You see, they'll be able to forever say that, man, my God is so big that he parted the whole sea just so his people could cross on dry ground. He's so huge that he even fed one of his prophets through birds in the desert. He's so amazing that he reached across the world, across oceans and lands, and tugged on the heart of a complete stranger whom I had never met and I had never heard of. And that stranger today is providing for my needs. So please be a part of that, because God has always used his people to change the world. And change in those lives over there will not happen unless there's some change in our lives here. And victory in those lives over there will not take place unless there's a sacrifice that's paid in our lives over here. And that ever-present help in time of need might not arrive over there unless there's a people here in this land willing to say, here I am, Lord. Send me. Use me. Let my life be the sacrifice that is paid so that others may live. So please be a part of this movement, ACC, and donate and sponsor some kids.